Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show. And today we're going to be talking about the Bay Veterans Foundation with a couple of guests. First of all, we welcome back the treasurer of the organization, Mike Jamrock. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Art.
Thanks for being with us. And the gal who's responsible for their women's outreach, we say good morning to Crystal. Crystal, good morning to you. It is nice to have you with us this morning. It is kind of interesting that all of a sudden, and it shouldn't be all of a sudden, but there is a big push for women's outreach. There are a lot of women veterans around, aren't there? You are one, right?
I am. I'm an Air
Crystal
Force
Sanders.
veteran. Hello.
How long did you spend in the Air Force?
Just under 2 years.
What drew you to it?
I wasn't ready for college, to be honest, and I knew that I needed to do something. I'm from a small town here in mid-Michigan, and I had some family members in the military. My grandfather was an intel in the Navy, and I'd seen him on his ham radio a number of times and just thought, wow, that's just so interesting. It's like, your own secret code.
Which is interesting. What did you do in the military?
I ended up being a Morse code operator, yes.
And, I'm a guy who had to use Morse code when I was younger for my amateur radio license and all that stuff. I thought Morse code was dead.
And I did too. I thought it was just this cute little secret code that he was doing with his buddies.
Do we still use it?
Yeah.
I mean, amateur radio, some do, but now they have translators and everything else. But is it still used during times of conflict and things of that nature?
As far as I know, yes.
Really?
Yes.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
So
I too was surprised.
So you could do it in your sleep then, I assume.
At that time, I think
yeah,
I pushed it down a bit, maybe.
Yeah, I know that routine too. I know that routine very much. So women's outreach initiatives going on now with the foundation. Tell us what they're all about.
We are trying to connect women veterans in a way that they haven't been able to connect with one another before. As a veteran and going to the VA in Saginaw for care, and being in the military, it's a primarily men's world, and so women need a different type of connection, a different type of care, a different type of community building, and that's what I hope to continue and build for the Bay Veterans Foundation and our community here in the Tri-Cities.
That care, though, I have to assume includes the VA.
It does include the VA.
It's not excluding it.
Absolutely.
It's including it.
Yes. Yeah. It's just to give a place where our women veterans can have conversations, like-minded women's topics like, menopause, breast cancer, just things to bring
not
us
necessarily
together.
military topics.
Absolutely.
Personal topics.
Yes. Yeah. And experiences when they're ready.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Crystal. I mean, we have seen a substantial increase in females going into the military, haven't we?
Yes, I would say yes. Yes. And I've met a number of women just in the last couple of months that they're younger. I'm an older person.
Don't believe her, folks.
I won't say my age. But I think to be able to talk about those experiences is going to be impactful, for sure.
Yeah. And Mike, what's the feeling of the organization itself in including women now, substantially including them?
Getting our women veterans involved in Bay Veterans Foundation and in the workshop activities has been a goal of ours from the beginning. Keith and I have talked, and we've tried having open houses, and we'd have good turnouts. But as Crystal said, when you walk in, the workshop is predominantly, if not exclusively, males. We recognize in talking to people at the VA and other organizations that women veterans have a different set of concerns, needs, experience different problems than men veterans, and we need to address that.
And those, I'm assuming, they're all of the above: physical, emotional, mental. I mean, you name it.
Yes.
They're all there.
So when we brought Crystal on in March of this year, with the purpose of developing this segment of programs for Bay Veterans Foundation, it was with the hope that, okay, we can't do anything about it, that we're male veterans, and we can understand that you may not think we know what you need. So with this very bright, energetic individual who also happens to be a woman, we're hoping that turns and we can get some programs growing on a joint basis and separate basis.
I'm glad to hear it too, because to me the most important word is not male or female. The most important word is veteran. This is a person who served the country.
Yes.
Period. Whatever the gender, doesn't matter.
Exactly. So we're very pleased. Crystal has made a lot of contacts, many more than Keith had in 2 years. She's done in 2 months. So I think the future is very bright as far as where we're going to go with this.
So, Crystal, what types of programmings do you or are you hoping to offer?
We will be starting a bi-monthly peer-to-peer meeting the second and fourth Mondays of each month. So the first one is May 12th, so next Monday. To get our gals together, I'm going to have guest speakers from the VA, gearing around health and wellness, mental health. We are going to be doing crafts. We're going to, for instance, build some birdhouses, and then I'm partnering with the Women Veteran Connect out of Midland, and they are out of the Uplift Creative Center. They're in Midland, over by Midland High, and they have a variety of craft and unique things that we can do in there with our women veterans. They do monthly meetings the second Tuesday of each month in the evening. So we'll kind of piggyback off of each other and
So we're not really reinventing the wheel, we're just expanding the wheel.
Right, and making it a place for women to feel like they're a part of something. Getting a golf group together, been talking with Doug Temple.
Let me ask about the VA itself. Does it recognize the need to have specific focused treatment for our women veterans?
Yes, there's a huge women's health wing, and I've talked to Lori Parrish, a number of ladies that are working with women veterans about educating menopause, dealing with MST, other types of holistic therapy for mental health and overall health and wellness. So all of those things will be a part of what's going to be happening.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with our guests, talk more about the Bay Veterans Foundation and its women's outreach. All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show, talking to folks from the Bay Veterans Foundation. Mike Jamrock, who is the treasurer and the Women's Outreach Director. She is Crystal Sanders. And You have something coming up, an art contest called Invisible Wounds, Visible Expressions. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's it's an art contest that, and it's again one of the concepts that at the board level we've talked for a couple of years that we'd like to do this. After I saw it in Grand Rapids at their art fair, they had a special veteran section. Goujon Employee Foundation is sponsoring this in honor of Ben Goujon, who was a corporal in the Marine Corps, a Iraqi vet, who passed away last year. Anyway, it's our first venture into it, and creativity. It rather restricted to just art, painting, or ceramics. The concept of being creative, short stories, poetry, rubber band art, whatever, speaks to the creativity being helpful in the mental health capacity, in helping veterans through their creative abilities deal with the mental health issues that many of us have.
Mm. Interesting the Goujons are involved because former Senator Goujon was an F-4 Phantom pilot in Vietnam.
Yeah, yes. They've been just great to work with. So we're hoping it turns out fairly successful. We'll know in
when is it?
The application deadline is the end of May, and submission is in late August. The judging will be by jury type review in September at a kind of a reception hosted, and we intend to display the winners and some of the other ones around the city at various locations.
And how does one apply? Is there a website they can go to?
If you go to our website,
which is
bayveterans.org, or our Facebook page, and we're constantly putting out the links and where to apply for it. But the information is on our website for sure.
Crystal, let me ask you about services provided for the women veterans. If they need help or want to talk to someone, what's the best way to do it?
Right now, as we're still building the outreach portion of that, I am in contact with certain people at the VA. So if an individual comes to me and they're looking for something specific, I would direct them to my contact at the VA. But certainly I'd love to have, participants from the VA come to our, bi-monthly meeting and have that available for them.
Will you have a place on the Bay Veterans Org website?
Yes. Yes. Yep. There will be links available, and they can reach out to me directly. Women's Outreach, the number 4 BVF at gmail.com, or call Bay Veterans Foundation, and they can put them in contact with me as well.
How hard is it today to get services from the VA? Is it difficult or is it easy?
You know what? I've heard both sides of the coin, and I have had no trouble. I am so happy with the care that I've gotten. And I've only enrolled with them within the last 12 or 14 years. And I've heard some horror stories, but honestly, last summer I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was getting all of my care through the VA, and they referred me to U of M, and I could not be happier with the outcome and the level of care and concern. And
You're cancer free now?
Yes. Ish. Well.
Ish. Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still in process, but I feel good, and we're just going to take it day by day.
I have to tell you, folks, during the past break, I learned something about Crystal. and it is something I have never, ever seen before. But you had to, when you joined the Air Force, get a waiver because of, normally we'd say a physical disability, but it's not a disability. It's an ability in a way.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what you had to get a waiver for.
I had to get a waiver because I have 6 fingers on my right hand. So
And literally, folks, it looks just like a hand. It's not a finger that's coming out of
doesn't
some
look like a foot,
strange,
no.
strange area. It's just another finger.
Yes. So I do have 2 middle fingers on my right hand, which I do not use because I'm a lady. But you might see my fist if you know.
Yeah, a little bigger than normal.
Yeah. So when I enlisted in 1993, I had to get a waiver stating that I wasn't going to have an issue, that it wasn't going to, be a problem later down the road. Now, little did we all know, during parade march, when our base commander was getting his, lapel pins and awards, all of the flights had to march for him. Unfortunately, none of us could wear gloves because I could not wear gloves. They were
Because you couldn't wear gloves, nobody else could.
exactly. And then I later found out that I had to answer for that and was called, in front of the.
Well, why should you answer? The Air Force needed to answer. They said you can
No,
join.
they wanted to hear it from me why no one could wear gloves.
What did they say when you said, well, look?
Yeah. Wow. I got a lot of wows.
Got a lot of wows, and
Yeah.
the
Let
answer
me see
was
that.
okay.
Let me touch that.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at that. Yeah, but or or when I would want to get my nails done as a teen, and it costs extra. Why? No, but it's been, I forget sometimes until, winter, and I try to put some gloves on. Oh, boy.
Well, you have to get mittens.
Mittens.
Yeah.
And at my age, which we're not going to say, I'm tired of wearing mittens.
But you do what you have to do.
Yes. Yeah.
And which brings us back to women veterans. They do what they have to do. I mean, it's there's a number of aspects when you become a veteran. And I have to admit, I'm speaking from a place of which I know nothing because I wasn't a veteran. I was 4F'd when I tried to become a veteran. But it's not just the veteran side of things, but it's how you assimilate into life, building a family, all of those things. And veterans from time to time, female veterans, need help, don't they?
Absolutely. And
As do male veterans. I mean, it's not exclusive, is it, Mike?
No. Where I'm remembered for saying that when you every veteran is broken in some way, shape, or form, in some degree. We all come back
Isn't that a
different.
sad commentary? I mean, it's on the one hand, it means you gave everything to your country. On the other hand, it's a sad commentary.
And it's recognizing that fact and helping the healing process and coming back to as normal a life as possible.
And that the degree of difficulty is determined by the service you gave, what you did. I mean, it's one thing to be in the infantry, and it's quite another to be a jet mechanic, for example. I mean, the jobs are very different, and the impact on an individual is very different, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I was trained as a telephone switchboard operator, so I thought I had pretty easy, even drawing orders to go to Vietnam in '69. I actually saw a switchboard probably 3 months out of the 14 I was there. So,
What did you do for the rest of the time?
I climbed poles to string wire. I handled the VHF radio.
So you're in communications, though.
Yeah. So we were attached to a MACV unit. So unfortunately or fortunately, the low man on the totem got to tote the radio on outings. So just because you're trained in one area doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you're going to go.
Yeah. True on the True on the women's side too.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. When I enlisted, I had requested to be in a healthcare position. I had family in healthcare, and it appealed to me. And I was told to sign up open general and just let my instructors know when they were handing out jobs, to let them know that I would like a healthcare position. And so when I got my yellow slip that said Morse code operator, I was really confused. I was very confused because, again, I'd seen my grandfather, typing these little secret codes to his buddies, and I thought, that's not a real job, and I don't think that's healthcare. And when I asked to change my job, I just got a laugh in the face and told to sit down. Okay.
So where did you practice your code listening?
Fort Huachuca in Arizona.
So you never left the States?
No, I was intended to go to Okinawa, Japan. However, I was injured on base.
That's when you got your injury.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any regrets?
No. Nope. I've kept in contact with some friends that I made while I was in the Air Force, and we still exchange stories and pictures and reminisce, and it was good for me. I needed some discipline. I was raised by my grandparents, and I was the youngest. And
Well, you
I
got the discipline anyway.
I sure did. I sure did. Yeah.
We'll take a break and come back with our guests as we talk about the Bay Veterans Foundation and the Women's Outreach.
We're proud to make
And welcome back. We're talking to Mike Jamrog and Crystal Sanders from the Bay Veterans Foundation. So, Mike, give us an overview of the Bay Veterans Foundation, what it's doing now these days. What's it up to?
Well, 2 years ago, we got received our occupancy permit from the city to open our workshop, and in those 2 years, we've a whole host of programs.
Let's stop there for a minute, because you say workshop. That's what it is, isn't it? I mean,
Yes,
give us
we
an
have
idea what's in it.
the workshop itself. It has probably any woodworking tool that you could imagine. I would dare say, on a other than a real commercial grade operation, we've got the best woodworking shop in the area. We've got 20-inch planers, cabinet saws, lathes. In fact, we have one lathe we purchased for some wheelchair-bound veterans that came in, wanted to learn wood turning, and to be safe.
So it's one they can sit at. They can.
The
roll
whole
up to.
gantry pulls down, and they can.
No
Anybody
kidding.
can sit at it. Yes, yeah. We had to have it custom made in Canada. Any type of size band saws and scroll saws and work tables and anything you need to make a project, we have it there.
Is there help? By that I mean, if a veteran comes in who's not familiar with woodworking, is there somebody to teach them?
Yeah, what we try to do is when someone new comes in, we of course give them a tour of the building, meet the people, the other guys that are there. They have to take a safety class before they can go out into the and do anything in the workshop. But once there, we try to pair them up with one of the existing.
Yeah.
One of our resident experts, if you will, for at least a week or two, till they get comfortable with where everything is. And there's the people there in the workshop are fantastic. They're more than willing to help anybody that comes in.
And what else does the foundation do?
Really, our we have our one of our prizes is our high school program with Eastern High School. That's the alternative high school for Bay City. This is our third year. We had 8 kids come in once a week for 2 hours. The first half hour, 45 minutes, we do a career exposure, if you will, with them, and the rest of the time they're out in the workshop making projects and
Cool.
trying to reinforce that, as in life, this is a process. Once you get the process down, you can apply it to anything to be successful. And it's to see the growth in the kids and the mentors. We pair them up with a veteran mentor. It's really been a successful program for us. This year, we're hoping to start in July is a senior veterans program. We've made contact with the local long-term care facilities and assisted living facilities who have a large veteran population. Sure. And we hope to, if they're able, to bring them to the workshop a couple days a month. If they're of the ability, they're certainly welcome to go out in the workshop and pound nails and screw birdhouses together. If they just want the camaraderie, board games, a game of euchre, a cup of coffee and a cookie and some BS with a buddy, that's fine. But it's just to get them out of for socialization, get them out of the long-term care environment.
All right, quick break. We'll be back with one final segment with our guests. All right, we're back with you in studio, and we're talking to Mike Jamrog and Krista Saunders from the Bay Veterans Foundation. I want to remind everybody again about the art contest and how they can apply, because deadlines are coming.
Quickest way is if you go to our website, bayveterans.org. It would be under the events button. Click, and it will lead you to the site to register. Right now it's the end of May is registration. I'm sure we'll be getting together in the next week or so and looking at how many applications we have, and so that may be extended. So if you're interested, regardless of when, go to the site and submit an application.
And then the art item itself has to be submitted by
August 31st, I believe. End of August, yes.
And then sometime in the fall there'll be
in September. I think right now it's scheduled for first week in September, right after Labor Day, will be the judging, and then they'll be on display till probably the end of the month.
All right. And anything else about the foundation you want to leave us with? Did you cover all your notes?
We've covered our big 3 initiatives for this year. Certainly the women's veteran outreach is the biggest. But we just finished and are starting our first welding class in our metal shop. We opened through a very generous grant through Hemlock Semiconductor. We were able to purchase the welding equipment and gloves and coats. Saginaw Welding has been extremely helpful and gracious to us for a lot of the supply items we needed. And we were one of those, we fell into it categories. A small college in Texas was having an auction, and at auction was a plasma cutting table. Was only 3 years old, and we got it for a steal. So we have that in the metal shop along with the welding. So we're looking to do some pretty neat things with that.
So I have to ask, with all this equipment and all this floor space, and you're still in need of more floor space, have you got a time frame when you'd like to get it done by? Expansion? Or another building, or
as soon as possible. We're looking at different options. Certainly, we'd like to keep everything together on a central campus. I just don't know if that's going to be doable. But as with this building, I think we're going to take our time and do it the right way rather than jump into something.
Well, I remember all the talk about this